You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Believe After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Believe After Show.
What's going on, guys? You are watching the Believe After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV of episodes 1 and 2. We went back in time a little bit since we started late on the Believe After Show. We wanted to give you guys the first 4 episodes, so this show covers episodes 1 and 2. And I am Bobby DeMuro, joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the amazing, the talented, the smart, the intelligent, the witty, the funny, and the awesome.
I'm blushing. I'm Courtney Henderson, guys. Thanks so much for watching.
And a procedural note, Kate Aquilano is not with us for 1 and 2 today, or 3 and 4, but good news, she will be with us the rest of the season.
Woo, woo.
We didn't kick her off. We wanted to, but the producer said we had to keep her.
Speak for yourself. I love her.
She is pretty great. She will be with us back on the normal episodes when we do episode 8 next week. All right, let's get into 1 and 2 now, Courtney. Well, the first scene of episode 1.
Can I nerd out on it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so before the show actually aired, I did a little digging because I really like J.J. Abrams. And then, of course, Alfonso, who created the show, won a Grammy. Oh, my gosh. won an Oscar for Gravity. I was saying, I can't. So much for geeking out. Anyway.
What's in that mug you're drinking there?
Diet Coke.
Oh, okay.
That's all. Just Coke. No, so Alfonso is known for his long, continuous shots. And I watched a little kind of inside look on the website for Believe about the show, getting excited for it, waiting for the premiere. And they talk about how he's known for that and that we'll get to see some of that in this. And this opening scene is exactly that. And in that filmmaking cinematic way does not disappoint.
No, the car ride is phenomenal. It's creepy. It is movie-like. It's not a television scene. That's a movie kind of a scene that you would watch, and it's a little weird, and then a little scary, and then a little horrifying, and then a little confusing. Why is this woman breaking these people's necks? What is going on with this girl? What's she going to do to the girl? Great opening scene, right?
Yeah, you're hooked.
You're hooked. You're definitely hooked. And then from there, we go to scene number 2, which is even better because Winter, we don't know his name is Winter at the time. He's pretending to be a preacher. Winter goes into death row in this very intimidating looking prison, goes to Tate. Again, we don't know at the time his name is Tate or anything of his story. And Winter helps him escape. A very creepy scene, very, very well done. And 2 scenes into Believe, and I'm like, okay, I'm still here. Now we're talking.
Yeah, I love when they show Winter and Tate in the cell, and he's got the beads, because we see Channing and the other teammates in the van, waiting for the keywords and the little, safe codes or whatever, so that they know when to take action, that everything is actually going according to plan to get Tate out. And she's like, oh, easy on the beads, because he's like, that's clearly the microphone.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing worse than having like that nails on a chalkboard kind of a sound right in your ear.
No, it's definitely bad. And that whole, obviously, folks who have been watching Believe, as we have for the last 7 episodes, know Winter's MO and know that Winter hasn't always been on top of his game. But in this first scene, when we very first meet Winter, he's got everything planned out to a T. That thing works perfectly. He's got the guards on his side. He gets Tate to hit a guard, so it looks like Tate escaped differently. He goes down into the sewer or whatever it is and gets out of there. That's an amazingly done escape for a death row prisoner who was literally on his deathbed about to die.
Yeah, minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Winter should have been the priest who was reading him his last rites, and instead he's freeing him completely from prison. And we free him, and then Tate goes out and learns on the airplane ride a little bit of what's going on and what he's supposed to do. And he ends up having to deal with Bo and meet Bo and eventually essentially, I can't talk either, break Bo out of her own prison, which is the hospital that she is in. That first meeting with Bo and Tate didn't really go so well, though. There was a little tension between the two of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the very first moments where Bo's still asleep were very tender. And, you know, we see, I can't think of names, Winter later on acknowledges, you know, that first moment. And he wasn't even there because he just knows how people react to Bo. Probably much like when he met Nina. When Winter met Nina, you know, it was sort of that same feeling that people have when they meet Bo. And so he just knew, especially having that inside scoop of who Tate really is to Bo, being her dad, that he felt something. And we see that blue butterfly fly in and land on the glass, and they make kind of a thing of that to make sure you notice that happens.
Yeah.
And then Bo wakes up, and, you know, as soon as she wakes up, yeah, they're just right off to the races with the banter.
They're fast friends. And at this point, we already know Bo is special for two reasons. The EKG machine at the hospital, or the MRI machine, or whatever it was, that she completely shut down just pretty much with her mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then that Dr. Terry, that young doctor, Bo, you know, kind of consoles him on the loss of a patient. And it's like, how would you know the doctor lost a patient? Well, trust me, Bo knows.
Absolutely. And then she's bringing up Senga.
Well, listen, before we get to Senga, we do meet the most important character of the entire show, the entire series in that hospital, too. It's our favorite guy. It's Stanley the Turtle.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Stanley.
He's not the most important, but I mean, it starts with Stanley the Turtle because in a second in this episode, he's going to come into play because he's going to get Bo in some trouble. But Tate tries to take Bo out of the hospital as discreetly as he can, knowing that, hey, he's an escaped fugitive as far as the law is concerned. And he runs into one of Skouras' henchmen, and we start learning a little bit about Skouras. Henchwomen.
Bo has to make that clarification to Tate because he's trying to get it off like he didn't get beat up by a girl.
What if
I'm just keeping you honest, just like Bo's keeping Tate honest.
What have I always said about guys? We're like 10-year-olds. You have to correct us all the time, okay? Tate, me, whoever. We're just a bunch of 10-year-olds. It doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
But okay, henchwomen, although she's not really that good at what she does. For a second, she's intimidating and it's kind of difficult, but it turns out, you know, she's not actually the best, and we will see more henchmen later. But they get out of the hospital and they end up getting on the bus, and this is where that Tate and Bo decision-making really starts, and the things that we've seen over the next episodes really begins, because neither one of them knows what to do. Neither one of them is particularly good at what they are doing, nor should they be expected to be. It's a very unique situation, but Bo ends up escaping from Tate. He doesn't know how to kind of corral her. Everything just kind of goes exactly opposite of plan, and when they eventually get to the safe house, the henchwoman follows them, and everything is still way out of whack, and she almost kills Tate until Bo reveals some more of her powers.
Yes.
The birds.
And I love those birds because I don't know if anybody else caught this. I'm sure somebody else caught this because if I did, that means lots of people could. But when they walk into the safe house, a bird craps on Tate's shoulder.
Yep.
And it's just one of those where it's like the guy's already like iffy if he's like gonna stay and be a part of this and kind of help. I think because he at that moment also doesn't really understand the severity of the situation, you know, kind of that there isn't really another option for him, you know. And he kind of bugs me a little bit in this because we don't, like, he was about to be killed, you know, and it's like, yeah, you know, how long is this job? How many weeks is this job? And it's like weeks, months, years. Okay, you know, it's like, dude, you were going to be dead. So any time alive you get, like any beer you drink, any smile you have, any breath you take, it's like, you kind of do owe it.
Yeah, that's true. But remember, he also doesn't know the extent of his relationship with Bo.
Well, that's what I mean. He doesn't know the extent of it, but you could still be grateful to be alive.
Yeah, for sure. But again, in this situation, as Tate will come to question in the next couple episodes, is it worth it to be alive, or would it be more better to just go back to prison and die because you know you're going to be safe there, as opposed to running from everybody all the time?
Yeah.
And he almost does get shot by this henchwoman until Bo reveals her power, which was interesting to have. It was kind of a little Alfred Hitchcock Birds type of thing going on, to have her surrounded by birds. But Tate does end up getting away, thankfully. And we know not only what Bo is capable of a little bit, we also know how serious Skouras is about bringing Bo back, if he's willing to kill other people. Because that henchwoman killed a couple people downstairs in the safe house.
On their team.
And was on her way to, and was, you know, a second away from killing Tate.
Well, and the thing that's so interesting is because we've talked about, and you watch, and there's safe house after safe house after safe house. And this property, the reason that henchwoman was even able to get to them was because, some of the IT with orchestra were able to track down and find out that this was the last property, this warehouse that they're at, was the last property that Winter bought before he died. So we also now know that Winter has, framed his own death.
Yeah.
Because clearly he's alive and well because he plays the priest, etc. So to me, I'm just sort of that just seems like to be so good and, down to the details about everything else, for that to be such an easy thing for them to find out. Yes, it was a year before, so you think, okay, maybe that's long enough, but he was partners with Skouras. He should have known that location could be easily found out if it's in your name.
Well, and with all the assets and all the tools Skouras has at his disposal, looking up real estate records is it takes him 2 seconds to do it. So
Yeah.
yes, I agree completely. It's not the toughest thing he's going to do. You and I could find that on Google.
Probably. Probably.
So, but in the chaos, Tate does get shot at one point and wounded, and Bo ends up taking him to a surprise destination, the doctor. We see the doctor again, Dr. Terry, and this sort of establishes the first person on a lot of different levels in every episode almost that Bo is going to help a random person or a random group of people. And Dr. Terry is the first one because
But
he has been... Go ahead.
They're not random.
No, they're not
Bo
random.
says there's no coincidence.
To us, they're random.
Well, yes.
Yeah. But, a new guest star, I guess I should say.
Yes.
But I completely forgot where my train of thought was going.
That was my whole point. I just wanted to get a word in. No.
But no, I mean, but we learn that Dr. Terry is questioning medicine, questioning practicing, questioning going through his rotations. And Bo's help for him is his father, and his father who is in a coma or is in very serious health at his home. And Bo says, your father is proud of you. Your father loves what you're doing. He loves you. Terry needed to hear that, and Bo kind of brings him back to medicine to say, hey, you're doing the right thing by being in medicine. Don't quit.
Yeah, well, and I love it, and we'll, see a pattern as episodes go on, but when Bo was telling him all of those things, she was holding his dad's hand. And so I feel like there's some significance to that allows her to feel, thoughts and emotions from the people that she's around, when she's, holding them and kind of in that more intimate setting with them.
Which is my one big question with the show that I haven't really understood with the first several episodes especially. When Bo touches somebody, she learns about them. We'll see it in this episode. We'll see it in the next one. We'll see it a few more down the road when we talk about it. And yet, Bo and Tate hold hands. Her and Tate physically touch each other all the time. How come she doesn't learn Tate's story as well as she learns all these seemingly random people's stories?
First opinion right out the gate is that she's not trying to help him. Not that she doesn't want to help him, but it's, she knows that this person needs help. She feels it. And I think that it's not until, later again, the episode where she does help Tate and let him go that, it's sort of, it's like it has its moment, and she knows with this power when and who to help because she feels it, and then she has to take the further step to actually go hold their hand and get to know them or touch them, on the shoulders or wherever it is, and then that's how she finds it out. And so there's been no motivation for her to need to help Tate yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, because otherwise, the sensory overload that she would have and sort of the emotional overload of taking anyone's burdens that she just touched, it would honestly probably kill her.
No, I think it would. And I don't know if it would, maybe it would physically kill her, but I think it would also just completely kill her emotional life to have to live the burden of every single person she comes into contact with. And I do agree with you on that. I just wonder, Tate is so integral to her and so central to her life. How come she can't touch him and learn his story and say, oh, damn, you're my dad?
Yeah. I don't know.
Or maybe she just doesn't want to. Maybe part of that is the manifestation on her end, which she has to want to help people, and she doesn't want to help Tate on that level.
Yeah.
I don't know. But with Dr. Terry, reason we're talking about the touching, because she touches him and learns all this, and then touches his father and learns all that. She keeps talking about Senka. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Cool Runnings.
Not for a long time.
Our engineer, Roya, is shaking her head. She's like, yes, I have. It is a great movie. That's right. Greatest movie ever. But there is a character in that movie named Senka. And every time she said, "You're going to help a girl named Senga. She's going to be a singer. You're going to help Senga," I was like, we might see Dougie Fresh today. Okay, I mean, maybe
But
that's
we didn't.
stupid. That was a bad joke.
I laughed.
Way too long of a setup and not really that good of a punchline. I'm sorry. But
Well, forgiven.
Thank you. We do see Senga. It is actually Agnes. And that's a great shot and a great kind of feel-good thing near the end of this episode where he helps this girl. She's getting better. She's playing the song. He walks out, sees in the mirror that the get well Agnes turns around, and Agnes is actually Senga.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and I love that Bo got it wrong but right, because she's saying Senga because that's how she sees it. And I love
Exactly.
that we see the process of her and her powers where, it is a puzzle. It is sort of pieced together. It's not something that just sort of like zap and it's done and like all the information is there.
Yeah, she
'Cause
doesn't
those would
know.
be really boring episodes if in one fell swoop she got all of the information to get them to safety.
No, you're exactly right.
You
She
know what I
doesn't know
mean?
the entire story. She just knows what she sees, which is just one person's point of view. It's the equivalent of she basically is just in that room on some level. She doesn't know in your head. She doesn't know everything. She just sees what she sees in the room. And even though she knows a little more than we do, she still has to figure out the puzzle herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we move into episode 2. Like we mentioned, guys, we're going to be doing kind of 2 episodes in one. And before we move into episode 2, I should remind you, if you are listening on iTunes or watching us on YouTube or either or both or whatever, hit subscribe on your respective media channel of choice so you guys can follow us every week on Believe. And more broadly, you can follow AfterBuzz TV and everything that we do because, oh yeah, we do about 7,000 shows a week. I'm only exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah, we do around probably 70
I
a
mean,
week.
7,000 was an exaggeration, but there's a ton. Every show you've ever watched, pretty much, we do a ton of them. So hit subscribe. You can follow everything on AfterBuzz or AfterBuzzTV.com. All right, let's move into this second episode because they're on the bus. Bo's taking a nap. They're going to Philadelphia. They're moving to another safe house. Lo and behold, this is a common theme of the first few episodes. A lot of safe houses.
Yes.
And the police stop them because, oh, I don't know, there's a convicted felon and a missing little girl on this bus. And as the police are going through, we see another one of Bo's powers, which is she sticks the police car in neutral and it starts rolling down the hill.
Yep.
One thing I've noticed about Bo's powers, and it is obvious, but it's also noteworthy enough we should talk about it. She has the ability to use those powers to kill people, as we will see other people with the powers do later on,
yeah.
or to wipe out memories and to do terrible things. She uses hers in more of a playful way, and she's obviously helping herself with them, but rolling the police car down the hill is mischievous. It's not murder. She's
It's not malicious.
Exactly. She's
Yeah.
not hurting anybody. She's not physically harming anybody. She's just kind of getting people out of her way.
Well, and she gets after Tate when he kind of jokes or talks about doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. She's not okay with that, you know. But it's hard because in the circumstances that she's put in so often, right and wrong becomes kind of blurry because, as we know from the first episode, all of the money that Winter had set aside and given to Tate to take care of her, they lose in the safe house because they have to flee too quickly and take, what about the cash? And he's like, forget about it, dude, Winter. And so now we know they're on this bus to Philly and, it gets stopped, like you said. They're looking for exactly who's on it, Tate and Bo, and she helps them. But, I mean, they have, $120 to their name at that point?
Yeah, not a lot. In this episode too, we really get to know a little bit more about Skouras and what Orchestra is capable of. A little bit, we'll see more later. And we meet this FBI agent, Elizabeth Farrell, who Skouras is working with, but maybe not necessarily totally working with. They have different goals. But this becomes interesting because Skouras gets Farrell to issue the Amber Alert. And then really the heat is on. A nationwide Amber Alert. They can't hide anywhere. Tate ends up having to change his appearance and shave his head and stuff like that. Tate takes her, and I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts on this, to a casino. Mm-hmm. Because he's using her powers, maybe a little maliciously, to gamble, which just because you can doesn't mean you should,
Absolutely.
I know she can do this, and I know you need money. I understand that, so maybe it wasn't the worst call. But would you have taken Bo to a casino to gamble to get money?
I mean, if it was that or stealing and she's not going to let me steal, absolutely.
But isn't this stealing?
Bobby, I'm from Las Vegas. You got to remember.
Touche.
You got to remember. Gambling's like in my blood.
It is in your... Okay, well, you know what?
So...
Then I digress. Okay, so you take her to the casino. They end up meeting Bonnie, the waitress.
Yep.
And even when Bo is using her powers, maybe a little under the table bad with this whole gambling idea, she ends up doing something good, which is meeting Bonnie, learning about Bonnie's son who is sick, and they will eventually help Bonnie later. But if you're at the casino, Tate's decision-making has always come into question for us. Isn't a casino kind of like the least inconspicuous place you could possibly be? There's a lot of cameras there. There's a lot of security.
Yes, I agree. I think it was more of a survivor mode than anything. And I just have to acknowledge the fact that Tate kept talking about her parents. And, well, didn't your parents teach you manners? Or didn't your parents this or that? Because, like, when she's, like, falling asleep on him on the bus or at the casino, she's like, what's a milkshake? He's like, go get yourself a milkshake. She doesn't know what a milkshake is. And it's just so funny because it's like, you're her dad. So every single time you're challenging or questioning the poor parenting she has, it's like, look in the mirror, bro.
Which is true. I mean, he's probably, if he had been around for those 8 years, 9 years, he would have been an awful parent. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
I mean, a good guy with a good heart, but I
Yeah.
mean, he doesn't know what he's doing now. He wouldn't have known what he was doing then. So he is right to question the parenting.
Well, true. Good point.
And then, but let's talk a little bit about Bonnie, because this is maybe the last really good example of Bo's powers, besides when she, picks up the taxi. But and makes the gun break in episode 3. But in this episode, she goes to Bonnie. She uses those powers with Jesse. She helps him literally fly and kind of brings the toys to life.
I loved that. Oh my gosh. I loved seeing like she had Stanley and he had, was it Dobson or Dobsy something? I couldn't quite catch the name of his elephant, his favorite one.
Yeah.
And that little actor, just like the cutest.
Just a touching scene, and she
I'm
gives
like,
away.
I want them to come back. Like, I want to see them again. And it's one of those things where there's absolutely no reason that they would ever see each other again. But when he later is, telling, he's got like all of his little stuffed animals lined up and he's like telling them about the best play date he ever had, which was clearly with Bo. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like Bo has to get to come play with you again because she's your best friend.
Well, but the good news is Bo gave them $30,000 for treatments in cash, which Tate wasn't so happy about for a second.
Right.
But he will get more play dates with other people because theoretically that means he's going to be getting
Alive,
better.
yeah.
Exactly. So it does end well for them. It doesn't end so well for Tate and Bo because they keep getting tracked down by Skouras' people and the FBI, and they have no money still. Tate worked very hard at the casino to make this happen and then lost all that money immediately.
Very hard with the hottie on his arm.
Hey, listen, did you think that girl was that hot?
No.
Oh, wow.
She's blonde.
Oh, yeah.
I'm biased.
I mean, I if I were in the casino, I would not have. I would have talked to her.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have.
For sure. You have Vegas in your blood, whatever. Hey, I can
You're
get with
allowed to
that.
come enjoy Vegas.
I'm just saying, I can get with that. If there are girls like that and I win 30 grand, okay.
But he hadn't kissed anybody in 7 years.
That's true. See, that is a huge issue. Is like he's been in prison for 7-8 years. How much of a temptation was that? Not to backtrack too much to the girl, but how much of a temptation was that to leave with the girl and say, forget this, as opposed to going and getting and leaving Bo? It just shows how good of a guy he is. Even when he doesn't know that he's Bo's dad, he still knows deep down, yeah, I want to leave with this girl. Yeah, I want to do whatever with this money, but I can't. I got to be with this little kid.
Well, and I guess for me, I mean, as far as the girl goes, it's one of those where it's like, if you're the kind of girl that's going to go just like meet up with some stranger who's winning a lot of money at the casino, I mean, come on, like care about yourself more than that. And so I guess that's more what I mean. Like, not necessarily physically ugly, but it's just like, I'm just not attracted to somebody like that. I also like men, so.
Wow, just little catty.
No, I'm trying to say she should respect herself more.
Interesting. Okay,
That's all I'm trying to say.
She's respecting herself. She's going to pay her debts by using the guy's money.
That's exactly
I
right.
see.
She's respecting herself so much, she's going to use him for the money. Now, little does she know he's a convicted murderer who just escaped from death row, but that's minor. Who cares? I mean, we've all been there. Come on.
Nope, I haven't been there.
Well, I guess you haven't lived fully in Vegas then.
I guess not. I'll have to go back.
Although this, for the record, this casino was in Atlantic City.
Right.
But I mean, same difference.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Atlantic City is pretty insane. Not a place you would take a kid like Bo. But again, you're right. They were totally desperate. He needed money. They didn't know what else to do.
I think, and I don't think it was wrong. I mean, it's a gamble, and I think that
Literally a gamble.
it's one of those things where, yeah, they used Bo's powers to get the money, but I mean, it was the most legal thing that they could do. I mean, I think it was the best option. And I think that going and leaving the hot girl on his arm to go get Bo and protect her does show exactly what you were saying. That deep down, he wants to do the right thing, even though at the same time, he might still want to be a little naughty.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, at some point, he is going to have a release. And I don't mean that. I just meant metaphorically, he has to do something to have fun because he's been broken out of prison and every single day is dealing with Bo, dealing with Winter, being on the run. I mean, at some point, he just has to calm down and like just give the man a day.
But Bo doesn't get a day.
Well, Bo doesn't get a day, but Bo's also a little kid who has Stanley the Turtle to play with, and she gets to color in the back of cars, and she gets to have a little bit of little kid fun with play dates like Bonnie's son. I mean, give the man a day. Remember what I've been saying the whole time. Us men are like 10-year-old boys. Like, we need to be allowed to like have fun.
Well, maybe he'll draw with her then.
That actually does sound fun. That would pacify me. So maybe it'll
I'll bring
pacify
crayons
Tate.
next week.
Cool, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. Crayons, I'm in. Well, I mean, in the episode pretty much ends, and I'd say pretty much ends. We have a couple big fight scenes where Skouras' men are after Tate and Bo, and then the FBI gets after Tate and Bo, and Bo lifts up a taxi cab, which is interesting and different.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of that in every episode where they're on the run from these people. So it's going to end, although this is the second episode, it's going to end like a lot of episodes in the future will end. I guess my other big question is Skouras and Orchestra, we don't know a ton about them right now, but we know enough to know they are bad dudes. And we also know enough to know that the FBI doesn't totally believe Skouras and what he's doing and what he's going after. And even though they're working with him, they're a little skeptical of him. He's coming across as a bad dude to pretty much everybody he comes into contact with. He's not a nice guy.
No, not at all. And I found it really interesting knowing all that about him and having that be 100% how they set him up in this show and his character. But then he goes and we see at the end, he's actually watching, playback, home videos per se of Winter with Bo. And it's a very actually sentimental, sweet moment between the two of them where, we'll see that they do their hand thing with the I love you and they squeeze as tight as you can. And he's watching that video of them together.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those where it's like, there's absolutely no information in that video for Skouras to benefit from. I mean, it's not going to give him any insight to her powers. It's one of those where it's like, is he just going back and looking at how far they've come, because this is his partner and now he's no longer in any way a part of Winter and Bo's life and he wants Bo back?
I mean, he definitely wants Bo back. She definitely has special powers, even for the group of special people that Orchestra deals with. I think she has more special powers than the rest of them, maybe.
Well, I also think that because Skouras is the one that originally found Nina, Bo's mom, there's definitely also maybe a little bit of like a personal attachment to that it's, I mean, this is the closest thing to Nina that he has.
Yeah. No, I think you're definitely right. And there's something else special about Bo to him. Just like there is to everybody. She's obviously a special girl. But there's something else special about Bo to him that he wants her back. Whether it's malicious or he wants her back to care for her, there's something much deeper for Skouras. And we don't see a ton of character development from Skouras down the line in this show, but eventually it's got to come up.
Right. Well, and I really think that Skouras and Winter both think that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And that's the thing about Skouras where it's like, you kind of have to respect that he's honestly working and using all of his resources to do what he thinks is right. You just can't respect the fact that what he thinks is the right thing to do is just so incredibly not okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, remember, and this will come up later in episode 3, not to jump on it too much, but for Skouras, this is about influence, not money, not
he has
fame,
money,
not whatever. He's got all that sort of stuff. So when you're talking about influence and power, the motive is different than if it were just something simple like, oh, he wants money, or oh, he wants this new job or this new award or whatever. It's not about that. Like, it's so much grander than that to want something like influence or power because it's such a huge idea. How do you go about getting that? You got to do some crazy stuff, especially in this case.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. One question for you, Courtney, that we haven't discussed on the show in the ensuing episodes in 5, 6, 7, but since we're on episode 1 and 2, I've always been interested to know if you had Bo's powers for a day, let's say.
Oh gosh.
What would you do? Oh, and disclaimer: you can't do anything bad to me.
Well, then I got nothing.
Okay, that's fine. I knew you were going to say that.
No. I don't know what I would do. I would like to think that I would do the same types of things that Bo does because, I would like to think that I would have the goodness in my heart and sort of maybe the naivety, I guess, versus being super jaded and kind of harsh and bitter about things, to just sort of try to like leave a little bit of a mark of goodness for those around me that, clearly need the help. I don't know though. I mean,
That's a very professional, nice, cute response, but it's the wrong answer.
is it? What would you do?
The right answer is you would use your telekinetic abilities to make burritos at Chipotle that get magically delivered to your house, and you could eat Chipotle burritos every day without having to leave.
But I have you to go get my Chipotle burritos every day.
Funny girl, no chance.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think we all want to say that we would do what Bo would do and we'd want to be nice or something, but wouldn't it be tempting to, like, cut corners a little bit with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd probably go to the casino also. But then I would use that money for good things.
Okay.
I would like to think.
You would...
I mean, how can you know? I mean, they don't give people like me powers like that because clearly I wouldn't do what Bo would do, or I would have that power. You know what I mean?
I would love powers like that for a day. It would just be so much fun.
What would you do?
I'm
Besides
serious about
you-
the Chipotle thing. I would literally have Chipotle. I would have him, if I could only have it for a day, I would have him make like 4 or 5 burritos and then just magically deliver them to my house. And I would eat one like at lunch and then one at dinner. And then I'd have 3 in the refrigerator and it would last me another day or 2, I mean, I can't make 100 because they're going to go bad. So if it was just a day, give me a few burritos. I'm a simple guy. I don't need that much.
Just a bunch of Chipotle burritos.
That's pretty much it.
Well, if you're listening, then keep that in mind. If you're watching, then you know why I say that because...
Yeah, so
You
if you
know
want
the-
to send
the
me a
key to his
Chipotle
heart.
burrito, my address is... No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be giving out addresses.
Just Chipotle burritos.
Just Chipotle burritos. Or whatever else. I mean, the brand doesn't matter. I guess just the idea of a burrito.
Oh, it
right?
matters. No,
It
no,
does.
it
It does
matters.
matter. Let's be honest. All right. So you do have predictions, though. We are going to do a little bit of predictions. So let's run your prediction.
All right, well, my prediction
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
has to come after the predictions music.
That's true. It does.
So my prediction is we see the blue butterfly when Bo and Tate meet. And I think that that's super significant. I'm not sure quite how yet, but I feel like in some way maybe that's the thing that connects Bo and Tate. Maybe that some way symbolizes Nina because, that's how they come to exist together because Tate and Nina and now they, don't have her. That's really my only prediction because I've, seen the first 7
No, it's
episodes.
interesting, and I think you're right about that because the butterfly motif, the theme, is going to keep coming up. It's obviously important, and it's a good call about Nina and the butterfly. So I guess we'll see.
I hope it's her.
Well-
In some fashion of,
Symbolism.
thanks.
You're very
That's
welcome.
the word.
Guys, that's it on the show today. We do have one big question for you guys on the way out, and it's a very general question. So if you're on Twitter or YouTube, we're going to do social links in a second. But here's the question. If you at home, if you had Bo's powers for a day, what would you do? We want to hear from you guys. So social links, Courtney, they're going to tweet these answers to you. Where can they find you on Twitter?
At Cohen, at Couhen.
Couhen. That's easy to remember. First 3 of your first name, first 3 of your last name.
You're the first person to figure that out without me explaining it
That's actually pretty embarrassing.
for everyone else.
Yeah, for everybody else, yeah. And I am at Bobby DeMuro, just my name on Twitter. So seriously, tweet us, guys. The question of the show, the question of the month maybe is, if you had Bo's powers, what would you do with them? You can only have them for a day, but tell us, what would you do with her powers? That's it on AfterBuzz, the Believe After Show. For our episodes 1 and 2, our look back, I guess. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and or iTunes, wherever you're at. We love good ratings and reviews, so if you want to rate us well, we thank you very much for that in advance. And even more importantly, we want to hear from you guys. So feedback, comments, whatever it is, whether it's Twitter or YouTube or wherever, reach out to us, talk to us, debate us. We want to hear from you. So that's it. For Courtney, I'm Bobby. We will see you guys next time on the Believe After Show.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.